Hi, so this is the TinkerCAD circuit for the arms of my Stockatron robot, which are basically going to be moving around and looking for vacancies in the fridge to put down food items, and it's going to be doing that using this ultrasonic distance sensor right here, which just reads the distance in front of it, and it tells that to Arduino, and that's going to be what's controlling the servo motor right here. If there's sufficient distance, then that means that there's a vacancy right there and the robot can go ahead and place down the food item. And if not, then the servo motor can rotate from left to right and it can go ahead and look for another vacancy. And this is all going to be controlled by this push button right here, which toggles on and off. You only have to press it once for it to turn on, and then press it again for it to turn off. So just to convert that, I'm going to start my simulation and I'm going to go ahead and look at my serial monitor, which isn't moving right now. So this distance sensor and the servo motor isn't working right now. But once I press this button, we can see the serial motor start to move and get readings from the distance sensor. And then once I toggle it back off, then the serial motor will stop. So the actual code for this, I have my variables already defined here and instantiated. And I also have this boolean over here, which is super important to making sure that the button works. And basically it tracks if the button should be running, and I have this method over here. It returns void. It doesn't return anything, but it changes the last button state and the current button state, which are both variables that I've already defined up here, depending on if the button is on or off. So once I press the button, the voltage will be received and it's going to communicate that with Arduino, and it's actually going to set the button state to be high, and that's going to override the last button state and it's going to make the last button state low, and that will basically set the boolean equal to either true or false using this if statement. So that's the method for checking the button. There's also a method for getting the distance in front, and this is just a normal distance method for this ultrasonic distance sensor, and it reads in input and output from the trigger and the echo pins, and it just returns the distance traveled in inches to my serial motor over here to Arduino, and that's going to be what's finding the vacancies basically. But there's also a method for actually finding the next vacant spot, and it has two major for loops that I have, and basically the first one, it's going to start at an angle of 0 and it's going to increment by 30, and this controls the servo motor over here, and basically it runs from left to right until 180 degrees, and then the second one does the opposite. It decrements every 30 degrees, and it goes from 180 to 0, so from right to left. And if the distance that is received, if it's the distance returned from the get distance method is greater than 6 inches, so I have 6 inches of space, and if it's greater than 6 inches, then that's basically a vacancy and it can go ahead and return. And if not, then the servo motor can go ahead and rotate another 30-degree angle in whichever angle is necessary at that moment. And then for the actual loop method, this is the main method. first, you check the button using the check button method to actually determine whether the robot is running or not. And then I also defined a local variable, distance, which just gets the distance from the getDistance method and prints it out to my serial monitor so I can see what's going on. And if the distance is greater than 6 inches, then the robot can go ahead and move forward by setting the servo motor to 90 degrees, or else servo motor will be set to 0 degrees, the angle, and it can stop and place the object. And then there's also a delay so that the robot can have time to actually place the object down. And then the find next vacant spot method is called upon to simulate the process over again, and the loop will be running over and over again until the button is stopped. So once I press this button, you can see that the distance in front of the ultrasonic distance sensor is 65 inches. If we move it down to below 6 inches, then the servo motor will basically know that there's no vacancy in front of it, and it can go ahead and switch angles and run again. And that's it.